Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feet Planted, a mompreneur event, the power of perseverance. I am Kara Maple Felton, owner of Feet Planted LLC, and I have another phenomenal mompreneur, Miss Danita Anderson. Wave at everybody. Look at her. She's looking beautiful. If you are new to this platform, we are celebrating mothers who happen to be entrepreneurs. And this is the second segment that we are doing. The music that you hear is from my beloved partner, Mr. Al Felton of Felton Productions. And so if you can enjoy it without listening to me talk over it, I'm just going to throw this on the screen and let you enjoy some details about our guest and the event. All right. I love this music. It's so relaxing. Nice. It is nice. Miss,
I want to move. I'm here.
she's grooving. She's already grooving. We're gonna pull the music back later on. Miss Anderson, I feel like the Matrix. Miss Anderson, I feel like I have to say that name with some heat. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing very well. I cannot complain. Everything's been going good today.
That
Thank
is
goodness.
good.
Yes.
Because it doesn't always go good. So that is
Exactly.
wonderful, wonderful to hear. If you are new to my platform, Feet Planted LLC, I am a 20 plus year STEM professional creating this platform to inspire early career professionals who are pursuing STEM and to help them with life stuff. However, this Mother's Day, I want to celebrate women. So if you joined me last night for Miss Cross, you saw me put up a picture of the woman that inspired me, my own mother, Dr. Carolyn Mayfield, who allowed me to sit front row as her child, along with my other womb mates, to see her take care of us, take care of home. She was also a wife, civic responsibilities, community, and she owned businesses, and she had a full-time job. So I was able to learn so much. And I said, you know what? We are going to honor mothers who are absolutely just doing amazing things in their homes, in their community, and their businesses. And so that is why we are here. And the theme for our event is the power of perseverance. So it's not just highlighting my guests and learning from them. It is also understanding how they persevere with all of the things that I just mentioned that they have to juggle on a day-to-day basis. So talking to the green button, if you are out there and you do not have a pencil and paper, I'm going to talk for a little bit. Just go run, get a notebook, get a pencil, because you will want to take notes. You are sitting at the feet of someone who is an independent contractor. Let me put her title back up on the screen, but has a lot of experience with owning an LLC, as well as a host of other things. So for all of you who do follow me and who listen to my lives, when I talk to this direction and I'm talking to Instagram and I say, thank you, Danita. This is Danita. Say hi, Danita.
Hey, everybody.
This is who I am talking to, dropping all of this knowledge and all of these phenomenal quotes when I do my live. She is in my tribe of people who not only keep me straight, but is wise and is so full of knowledge. I happen to not always have guests that I know, but in this particular case, I know Miss Anderson, and when I tell you she's brilliant, I don't gas people for no reason.
I appreciate
Woman is brilliant. She is a Jacqueline of all trades. So I'm hyping her up, not because she's my friend, but I want you all to get some notebook, paper, and pencil. So hopefully you have come back, and now that you can join us. So this evening we have a treat. You've listened to an author and one of my other guests who is starting a nonprofit. Well, this evening we are going to talk to Miss Anderson, who happens to be an independent contractor. And one of the things that I love about what she does and some of her experiences is the flexibility of what it is that she does. And I did my research because I've been an independent contractor a long time ago and times have changed. But one of the things that I found is that it's important to subsidize and supplement is a better word, your income if you have a full-time job, or if that is your only job. You have flexibility, and there is a large variation in the different types of work opportunities available post pandemic for women, and especially women of color. So I look forward to hearing more about what Miss Anderson's experience is. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to allow her the opportunity. Please tell us about yourself. Feel free to talk about your family, because I already said you're a mom and she's got some good news to share. I hope she'll talk about that too, as well as tell us about your experiences as a business owner and currently as an independent contractor.
So, hello, my name is Danita Anderson, as Ms. Karen Felton so eloquently put it. I have been probably an independent contractor for the last few years, not very long. I was a co-owner of an LLC, 3D Catering. I was a caterer as well. That was earlier in maybe 2012, 2010, 2012 timeframe. So I've had a little bit of knowledge on that as well. I am a mother of two. I have a son who is in the Navy. Thank goodness he is on his own. He is doing very well. He's going to Guam this year. I have a daughter who just graduated college like yesterday, Saturday. So I'm very, very excited of the accomplishments of my children. It wasn't easy. I was a divorced mother. I took care of my kids independently. So it was very, very challenging. So I created pretty much a business to supplement income. I was not receiving any other income or any child support or anything like that. So um, it was to supplement a little bit of my income to help out, uh, to help them go to school and to become independent, to become great people that they are. The reason why I chose graphic design, which is what I independent contract now, is because I feel that's my passion. Creativity is my passion. It allows me to uh, do things on my own. It allows me to express myself with little guidance. I don't have a boss, which is the most beautiful part of being an independent contractor. I think when I am drawing or creating, it shows that I have a diverse platform, or maybe not platform, but I have a diverse style, if you will. I can pretty much put anything on paper. You tell me something, and I can create it. So that's just my passion. That's what I like to do. And Karen,
Oh, I'm here. See, I have to click all these buttons because I want you all to focus on her. I'm back here listening and nodding my head and high five, and she can't see any of that, but that's okay.
at all.
She can't see any of that at all. So first and foremost, her children are older. But she's just described that she was able to supplement income, which is one of the chief benefits of being an independent contractor, as well as being the owner or founder of an LLC. But there are some unique differences, and we're going to get into those. One of the things that you said, go Navy, son's in Navy, daughter just graduated. So they have seen you build and they've seen you work, and they probably have that work ethic from you, which is again one of the benefits, I should say, of sitting at the feet of a mom who has done that. Because again, just like your kids, I watched my mom do it too. My dad a little bit, but definitely I learned a lot of those things from my mom. So I want to peel back a couple of things that you said. So there may be folks listening to this later on who maybe married, maybe single, whatever your status is, even if you are empty nesters or have no children at all. I believe that there is a lot of opportunity, and Miss Anderson is going to confirm that for me and for us to actually launch out there. What I think is unique about you, again, since I have the benefit of knowing her, you did not go to school to be a graphic designer. So these are gifts and talents that you have developed and used that are now being used at will for people who hire you, correct?
That is correct. It's funny you should say that because what I failed to mention was I was also Army veteran.
Yes.
And I served in the military for 12 years um, as a military intelligence specialist.
See,
So, and,
brain.
and and so after that, I actually went to school for human resources. So I am now a human resource specialist. So I have not had any formal training in graphic designing. I pretty much was self-taught. I taught myself different platforms, different media outlets. Yep.
Okay, so I can't. It's hard for me because I'm muting myself, but I'm also taking notes. So I'm gonna write while I talk. Everybody should be used to that by now. I take notes. I'm a student as well as a host. I say that all the time. Self-taught. I can relate to that. The theme is perseverance. So you've already mentioned that you have a full-time job. You mentioned that you are retired Army. First of all, thank you for your service.
So I didn't
And
retire, but I'm a veteran. I served 12 years. Yep, veteran.
hey, you did 12 more than me. So thank you for your service. And what I want you all to understand is the diversity of not only what she did on the armed forces, what her career field is now, and what she's doing in her independent contracting life. Sometimes there's overlap and sometimes there's not. So you're looking at a woman who is using every bit of her skill set, whether she taught herself, and I because I know you, I know that is your passion. She already talked about creativity. So here's the message. If you have something that you're interested in, don't sit on it. Absolutely learn how to make it beneficial for others. And hopefully you're going to talk to us about how you started to become an independent contractor so people can know your skill set and begin paying you for your skills. So I took a little bit of a departure. So let me circle back. So my question to you is going to be, given all of the things that you mentioned, and to include being a divorcee, how did you do it? Oh my goodness. What does perseverance mean to you, and how did you persist as you were not only developing your skill set, but launching into being an independent contractor?
I can sum it up and I stayed the course. So it was a lot of things that I went through during my divorce and just becoming alone, just being by yourself. It is a lot of learning. It's a learning curve. Your income doesn't is not as well or as good as it used to be. So I just stayed the course. I just kept going. I think perseverance is just overcoming your adversities and anything that's in your way. You just plow it down and keep going. I think that's how I actually was able to get into the things that I have accomplished in this time. So, in terms of graphic designing, I actually it's interesting because I was a cheer commissioner for Fort Belvoir, and we would just do different little images or graphics just to get people involved or interested in cheerleading. I would put together little pamphlets. So that's how it all began. That's like the genesis of my, I would say, career in graphic designing. Just putting that together, and then it just evolved as I learned how to do trifolds and simple images. I then started to do more just research and look at different platforms and just start creating videos and social media posts. Just it just evolved.
I can't write fast enough. So I can't push the button and write fast enough because I'm writing down all of this. What you all don't know, and what will become very clear as you continue to watch this, is that I have the pleasure of also working alongside Ms. Anderson in ministry. And when I tell you that she is a Jacqueline of so many trades, and now I'm actually learning and getting a front row seat of how that all developed. Exploration. So let me unpack a little bit about what you said. You started off doing pamphlets. You started off again being a cheer coordinator, working, and over time you realized that you enjoyed it and you had a knack for it. What were there any challenges in as you were developing your skill set and probably having a lot of fun, because I consider it to be fun too. Were there any setbacks or triumphs along the way as you started to inch closer to becoming an independent contractor with that skill set?
I would say a lot. You have to, so in creating in anything, it's not as just as simple as go to your computer and you just start. There's a lot of preparation in terms of taking notes. What does the customer want? What are you trying to create? What are you trying to say? How are you going to say it? So you pretty much doing the what, when, hows, the five W's, as everyone know. And then in that, you also have to figure out what's appealing. What is the customer going to enjoy? Um, you can't just put black and white on a piece of paper and think that that's going to be the outcome. So I had a lot of challenges in the beginning because I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to express it. One, because I did not have the education in graphic designing, and two, I didn't have any type of knowledge in terms of what um, platforms to base that on. So I couldn't just go to my computer and say, okay, I got the platforms here. Let me start. First, I had to research and see what platforms to use. So I had to say, well, a lot of people use Canva now. Well, Canva doesn't work for me because the creativity that they use is already there. So I want a blank screen and I want to do my own. So I had to figure out, what does that look like? And if anyone has used Adobe Suite, which I typically use for my creating, it's not easy and it's not intuitive. So I had to go through like some different YouTube videos and just their Adobe Suite videos, tutorials. It was a lot. I mean, it was a lot of challenges that I had. And so I didn't get started right away. It took me time. I went through PowerPoint. I'm a PowerPoint whiz at this point because at first I started in PowerPoint, just putting together different images or videos, because you doing videos in PowerPoint before I graduated to Adobe. So I did a lot of things quickly just to learn, and then I perfected the learning.
So I can relate more closely to what you're talking about than I think probably any of our other featured guests. But what you said and described is that it was progressive. So
Yes, very much so.
if you are out there, I underline keywords. You said number one, preparation, taking notes, in the five W's. So for those of us out there that may not know what the five W's are, what are they?
What, when, where, why, and how. Well, the how is not, yeah.
Absolutely. And so when you're working with a customer, those are what we call requirements. And so being able to, well, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to ask, what was what was the biggest skill learning curve that you had when you prepared? Um, it sounds like, taking notes and listening, and being able to compile all of those and deliver, that's a lot. So what was your biggest thing that you had to learn in order to do that?
The how. How was I going to create this? So I enjoy, again, so I can hand draw too. Many people don't know that, but I actually sketch too a little bit. So at one point I was sketching drawings, but then I said, well, how am I going to get this on the computer? I can take a picture of it, but how is that going to translate, and how would I be able to manipulate it or do anything more, especially in the age of technology?
Mm.
There's no handwriting anymore in technology. You're pretty much learning how to draw on a computer. And so that was the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge was transferring my ideas, which I thought were great most of the time, but everybody don't always agree with my ideas because my mind goes a mile a minute, and then I have to scale back. And so I think just getting how I was going to use the technology or find the technology, and then what was that going to look like, and what would people think? So I think in the beginning, I had a lot of help along the way, just asking different people about the house. We've even talked a couple times about, what technology you use, and how did you start your businesses in the beginning. So it was progressive, and a lot of things I did pro bono. I volunteer for a lot. my family sometimes say sit down, but I volunteer for a lot. And I learned that I was giving my intellectual property away for free, my creativity away for free. It was taking me hours, just learning the technology, learning how to do things, and then I would just give it away. So I wasn't valuing my time. I wasn't valuing the things that my commitment to graphic designing, and I was just giving it away for free. So a lot of it I had to figure it out, like figure everything out from scratch.
Welcome to entrepreneurship, folks. That is entrepreneurship, owning your own business, independent contractor 101, a lot of figuring it out on your own, which takes perseverance. Because let's not forget, I guarantee that during those times you were an active, I know you were an active mother, full-time job. So there is a bit of a balancing act, and we're going to get to how you were able to do that later. But you said something that makes me want to ask another question. So you learned how to value your gift. I do pro bono speaking engagements, and they're just some things that are passionate to me, that I'm not going to charge for because it's a part of my life purpose work. So here's a question: how do you discern what to charge for and what to give away? What kind of tips can you help our audience with if they're trying to figure out what that process is like?
That's a good question. I think what I hold near and dear to my heart is the things that I do probably pro bono. So, in terms of, I do a lot of pro bono for church. Giving back is what I desire. And so for churches, for our church in particular, I'll never charge our church. Why? Because that is where my faith is. And I think serving is not a bad thing. Serving is a good thing. I think where I charge most is where people would automatically go out somewhere and they would pay for those services. So say I do some invitations for a family member or friends. Typically they will go out and pay for that service. They will go out to pay anyone. They will go out to pay Staples. They can't print for free. You can't go to Etsy and say I just want this and you download it and it's for free. So services and goods that I think that are for a private purpose or for your own personal purpose, those are the things that I would charge for. The things that you would ultimately pay for and good money, outside of having a friend that does these things.
Good. That is really good. I struggled with that myself. And there's a lot of information out there. This is not a one-stop shop to get information on how to price and how to determine, but it is a personal decision. And so as you are hopefully at home thinking about the skills and the gifts that you have and thinking about what services you can offer and get paid for, also think about your why. And so that's going to be a part B to, you've already answered it. You already talked about how you're service oriented, how you give back to your community and your church. Um, how hard was it to understand, maybe not understand is the right word, but how hard was it when you had to charge for your first service? Like, was that a challenge for you? Help our audience learn from your experience of how to get over the hump of saying this is how much it costs. You know, the whole meme, the price is the price. So how did you help? How did you get through that?
That's a good question. I think the first person I charged was probably a good friend of mine, and they were asking for a lot, and it was taking me hours to complete. And so I just said, as I did the first iteration of the project, I said, "This is a lot. It's taking a lot of my time. I'm using these hours where I could be potentially doing something else or making other money or a part-time job or something." And so I just had to sit down and talk to my friend and say, "Look, we're gonna have to come up with some prices." I said, "I don't know what this looks like in terms of marketing or profit, but I can definitely find out. And so what I did was I just did some research and I said, I Googled. I'm a Google queen. Just so you know, I love to Google. Everything is on the internet. Anything you want to find out is on the internet. So I Googled what is the market value of creations or graphic designing in this area. What would you charge per hour? And so that's what I did. I ended up just Googling it, figuring it out. And of course, that's my first client, my friend. So I did give a discount, but I charged per hour, how long it was going to take me to complete the project. And then I charged based on that. It's a very hard conversation to have, especially when you don't charge and you're considering yourself a business. So when you don't consider yourself a business, it's very hard to charge for your first business transaction because you don't know what that looks like in terms of money. So that was pretty much it. We just had a hard conversation. I just told my friend that it was taking a lot of time, and I value my time, even if my friend doesn't. I value my time. And that's the key. If you value yourself and you value your time, then you're less apt to give things away for free.
Message. Say it again, please, for the people in the back.
Yes, that is a very true statement. I mean, I had to learn. I think everybody has to learn that. If you learn that, then it'll be easier the next time, because what happens is I don't have a price chart. So I don't have, say, you come to me and you say, I want this, and it's a certain price. I charge by hour. So if it takes me 4 to 5 hours to complete, you're going to pay an hourly rate depending on what the project is. And then, I do give discounts. I'm not hard or anything like that. So I do give discounts depending on what the project is. If it's a harder project, then we just have to talk about it and see what your expectations are. That's the beauty of independent contracting too, by the way. You don't have to have set prices. You price at the price point that you want. You can change your price points because depending on where you are. So if I'm doing a job in Virginia, it may be cheaper than if I go to Georgia and complete a job. So it just depends on where and what that market value is in the state or the city that you're in.
That is good, and that is something I'm learning so much that I didn't know when I had my own freelance business. I did, like you, Google, talking to the green button again.
And
Google is your friend. Look up
yeah.
everything is out there. I will say that alone, and Miss Anderson has already said that alone, you need to couple what you're learning and the research. She said research, I know 4 times because I've written it down 4 times. You have to couple the research
Mhm.
with your capability and the time investment. One of the points that I've made on my platform, STEM related and just people related, is comparison. That we can't compare what gifts I have versus what gifts you have, what you charge the other person versus what I'm charging. I would love to hear your advice to the person out there saying, well, there's a gazillion people, let's just say, making widgets. There's a gazillion widget makers, and I'm another one.
Mhm.
What would you say to that person who knows that they have the skill and is concerned about being another entity out there, and is not launching out for their business or their independent contracting pursuits because of it?
Mhm. So I would say there's always going to be 1,000 things or 1,000 competitors in the field that you're in. It's what you put out there. It's networking. It's communication. I think that you price based on and you develop. So as you develop, I think your customer base will change. When I was first starting out, my customer base was basically those around me, those people who I knew. It wasn't a lot of people outside of that network. As I grew and grew in my skill set and was able to understand what I needed to do, how to use the tools that I had in my hand, even though there was a lot of graphic designers, there was no graphic designer like me. So I take, and I think you should take who your customer is and then valuing your customer and delivering what they want. So you can go on Canva and create a great flyer, awesome flyer, but it won't be the flyer that I create for you. and it won't be the quality that I give you, because I give you that personal touch. Whereas those other widget makers, if you will, is giving you a widget. I'm giving you your widget, you know? So you have to think about it in those terms and don't count yourself out. So if you count yourself out before you start, then you're never going to get anywhere. I think that was though that's something hard to do. It's hard to say I can and I will. So everybody says they can, but if you don't try it, you'll never know if you will. So I think just try it. There's a no in a try. You try it. If you don't succeed, try again. Keep trying. If this is your passion, then don't give up. But if it's not something that you value or is not your passion, then find what that is. But don't give up or don't stop because there's somebody else doing it. There's always going to be somebody else doing it. There's 100 different HR professionals. I'm still doing HR and I do very well at it. So just count yourself in before out.
That's good. That's good. We self reject so
Mhm,
often. And for the littlest thing, I
mhm,
just want it to be known that what you described is the word unique. We are all unique. And I said this in another session. There's only one Danita, there's only one Karen. And so everything that she says, I high five, foot stomp. You really, a part of knowing your why is also knowing yourself and
mhm.
knowing that you bring so many positive and good things to the table. So if you're still not sure, stay with us. Stay with us. I think we're going to get you over the finish line. Matter of fact, I know we will get you over the finish line. And just to bring up another point, if you're just joining us, my name is Karen Mayfield Felton. I'm the owner of Feet Planted LLC, and you are here because I'm having a mompreneur event, the power of perseverance. You are looking at the beautiful Danita Anderson, who is an independent contractor, specifically a graphic designer. But because you're joining now, you're going to have to replay to the beginning to catch up on all the other cool stuff that she happens to do. And I have a front row seat to a lot of that most of the time because we are friends. We attend church together and we work side by side. So I've already said it at the top. I'm gonna say it again. This sister is brilliant. The quote that you missed if you just joined us is "I can and I will," and I am going to put that up at the end so that it's a reminder not only to myself but for those of you out there to keep pressing on. We've talked about some really good resources and tools for those aspiring entrepreneurs and independent contractors. But I want to get more on your business. I want to get more on your business. So, what is it like? Is and was it like to manage your business and balance full-time job, family, life in general? Just paint a picture for us if you can.
Hard. Yep, that's the key word. It's hard. Um, so I'm a what they call a chronic volunteer. So I will volunteer for everything because I have this volunteerism spirit. I don't know what you call it, but I volunteer myself, I volunteer my friends. We all doing it. We all going out. And on top of that, I had work. On top of that, I was doing my businesses. So it's very hard. And it wasn't easy in the beginning. I think that I missed out on some opportunities for growth of my kids. Just before I finally got a niche on what to do and how to balance it. So in the beginning, I was, going to work. I would go to work when I was in the military. I had shift work. So I was going to work throughout the night, coming home, getting the kids ready for school, then getting them off to school. Then I still, try to get a couple hours of sleep, go to cheer practice, football practice when my son was in football or wrestling or whatever he had going on, and then come back and start and then try to get some of the brochures done and then go start it all over again. So I didn't get much quality time with the family. So I really had to determine what was more important and what was important in my life at the time. So for me, certain days I just would not do anything extra. It was time to focus on what I needed to focus on, which was my children And so they probably didn't see a difference because I don't tell my children, well, I'm having a hard time coping. So I just did. So maybe on a Thursday and a Friday, I would not do anything but be with them or be with my family or whatever the case, whatever I had going on, but it wasn't work. So I just took certain days, eliminated work from those days, extra work. Of course, I had to still go to that 9 to 5 because that's important. But I would eliminate the extra work. And then as I got better, I set my own hour. So if I got a job, somebody hired me to do an image, or I think I was doing social media networking or social media monitoring management. So I was managing a business's social media page. Well, had certain hours, certain days that I would manage that, and other days it would go. I wouldn't do anything for it. But the beauty about independent contracting is I don't have to. So I'm given a deadline, and so if my deadline is 2 weeks from now, I can do it today, or I can do it right before the deadline. But it was my deadline to meet, and I had milestones. So I set milestones on when I would meet back with the customer to determine. But those are all determined by me because I was working for myself. So I think that that's how I kind of balance. In the beginning, it was hard, but as you get a little bit more involved and more experience in managing your time and managing your projects, you won't have any problems.
No, that's good. A lot of planning. I underlined twice and circled planning and setting your own hours. So, for those of you out there that hopefully will join us again tomorrow for our other guests, you're going to see a lot of differences and overlap and similarities. Specifically for you, I would love for you to pull the onion a little back. You started talking about it, that's the difference. You set your own hours. The level of flexibility of being an independent contractor is different than being the founder and owning your business. One not bigger or more important than the other. It's a different level of work structure. So I would love to hear, what do you see the benefits of being an independent contractor? Because you had an LLC before, so you've done both. Can you talk to the audience about what you think the benefits are for you?
Um, so for me, I think the benefit is my goals. So when I had the LLC, my goal was to create something to carry on when I wanted to. It was catering, and so this was something that you can kind of catering you can pass down. It's a business. It's a business structure. But there were a lot of rules and regulations to having that business. There was things that you can and can't do. There were amounts of money when you make the money, different accounts that had to be had. There's a lot into having owning an LLC and making sure that you don't get sued for anything, even though you're a limited liability corporation. You just want to make sure that everything is on point, and you check these blocks. For me as an independent contractor, I have a goal. So I may only want to make $100, $500 for this week or this month. And so I don't have to, once I reach that, I don't have to take any more projects. But at LLC, I'm running a business. So I feel like, when you run in that business and you have the catering, you're constantly being booked, you're constantly being called. And in order to keep your business afloat, you have to continuously get that demand because it's based on demand. So if no one was calling me, I wouldn't be able to keep the LLC. But independent contracting, I can start today. I can stop for 2 years and I can still come back and do independent contracting because it's my own, it's my creativity, it's what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. Um, there's still financial obligations that you have with an independent contractor. You still have to file your taxes, but my taxes are filed into my income. It's not filed into a corporation, so I don't file taxes for a business. I file taxes, it's come to right directly to me as an independent contractor. So I think that's one of the beauties about doing this is because, you know, whatever I make, I make. I can still do my losses. I can still do things that I put out towards the business or towards working, but it is still just Danita Anderson. It's not any other liabilities. and it's graphic designing. So it's not really a, a business where they can really come back and ding you on it.
No, that's good. And that's important for all of you out there that are interested in having that flexibility and need it. We're going to put her contact information up at the end, and you can reach out to her and ask her a whole bunch of questions on how she does it. So her particular skill in business is graphic design, but it's bigger than that. I don't want you all to think that it is small. So you've heard social media, graphic design. I know for a fact communications, understanding the audience. There's a whole ecosphere around what she does, which brings me to my next question. I'm going out of order, but she knows how I do. Um, what words of wisdom can you share with your audience? This is more so do's and don'ts, again, from your perspective, or just any wisdom for someone who is thinking about it. Again, this is Mother's Day, so we're focusing on our women out there, our mothers. Just what advice would you give that you've learned from doing it the way you're doing it?
Um, I would say if you keep pressing, um, you're gonna get discouraged. You're gonna feel like you're not. It's not because it's not making a lot of money now that is not a successful business. Success is what you make it. Success is not something that someone else sees for you. You see your own success. When I was making $1, I was successful because I made that dollar. When I was doing volunteerism, I was successful because I was helping others. So don't let someone else determine your success. Your success is what you feel your success is. So if you have a goal and you're not reaching your goal today or tomorrow, you don't know what the year holds. So hold each day as it's separate. And every day you just keep pressing on to be successful in your definition of success. I think that's our biggest challenge. I think our biggest challenge is trying to figure out in our own businesses, what does society think success is? And if I make $1 million, I'm successful. No, if you complete your goals, if you are reaching the goalposts of what you want to do, and you are actually building something, a foundation for yourself, because it's about you too, then that's success. Don't let society determine that. I think that's the biggest thing that I can give to people. No matter what, keep going.
That is a common theme. Keep going, and I'm just going to throw this up because that's wisdom. Define success for yourself. It rides right alongside comparison because you can have two independent contractors providing the same services, and you'll see billboards, you'll see all the social media, you'll see a lot of things. But if that doesn't fit into your life and your construct and what's important to you, then that's not success for you. You said it extremely well. And I love keep pressing because there will be moments that I can attest to with my own business that there are times that are discouraging.
There's
You will
people
face,
that just will discourage you or try to discourage you. So
yes.
yeah, it's not. I think we get caught up in what others feel instead of just really internalizing what we feel success is or what we think we need to be doing. I've been told no a lot of times, but I just kept
Mhm.
going. I didn't accept a no.
I love it. Don't
Mhm.
accept a no. There's always a yes in there. And if you do get a no, it'll often point you in another direction that you didn't think about. So no's are okay. Just don't hang on that no. So this brings me to, again, all of your conversations and answers always direct me to the next question. And I ask every guest this question, and it'll be interesting to see what your perspective is. Not everybody is happy for you. Not whether you're a business owner, independent contractor, or not. How have you or did you respond to the naysayers and the haters when you started? First of all, not everybody has them, so you can answer that question. Did you have any? And if so, how did you respond to the doubters as you started to be more enterprising in your business pursuits?
I think I had those silent naysayers. And what I mean by that is those are people who root you on outwardly, but don't really give you anything to help you or to push you along the way, because they always have something else for you, an agenda for your life. Um, but identifying them was hard. I think that a lot of times, for me, my life, I would always, and I had to learn to stop. I would always tell somebody my bright idea, if you will, and it would be downplayed. And so that's discouraging when someone downplays what you feel like is something that you really want to do or really passionate about. It will be downplayed. And so it wasn't a naysayer, if you will. It was something sort of like, oh, that's a good idea, but you think you got time for that? So it wasn't a outward no, it was a you they try to prioritize my time and my abilities and my skills for me, instead of just encouraging and saying, that if that's what you want to do, try it out. You never know. You never know. It may be successful. You never know. It may bring you happiness, it may bring you wealth, it may bring you what you're looking for, what you're missing. you know those were my biggest challenges. My biggest challenges weren't the ones who just weren't rooting for me at all, because you can identify them, so you can just kind of push them to the side. It was those who were giving you the head nods but not rooting for you truly. They were kind of wishing for your downfall to say, I told you so, or maybe you shouldn't have did that. So I think that for me, once I identified them, it was easy for me to kind of prove them wrong, to go forward, to find my own destiny, to do the things that I wouldn't have done if I continued to listen to those people. Because it may not be the what they say, it may be how someone says things, in order that will discourage you more.
I never thought about that. I love the answer because oftentimes they could be, the backhanded, like compliment, or it's not really a compliment, but acknowledgement is a better word. And I'm not a negative person, so don't think that, oh my gosh, I'm going to get people that aren't going to support me. What the reason that I'm asking this question is because when you launch out to be an entrepreneur and you have all the other attributes and names on your plate: mom, wife, worker, full-time job. When you have all of those things that are also attributed to you, other folks, like you said it very well, that they will try to decide for you. And I'm here to tell you that when you walk in purpose, and if you have a gifting that turns out to be a service that someone wants to pay for, as you grow. I mean, Danita just laid out the path. She grew in her skills. She took on more projects. I guarantee you, and you can confirm this, that as you grew, some things just naturally fell off. They had to.
They did. Um, you get, once you learn, first of all, once you follow what you're supposed to be doing, everything else will come and go in the back burner. So, when I truly learned how to do some of the graphics, word of mouth got me more business than me promoting myself. Just the things that I was able to do. Oh, you want to do this? I've done for some major companies. I've done for some small companies. I've done for people, just poster boards for DJs. So I think that as I learned, as I grew, even though there's other graphic designers, because I think the earlier question was, if you're, how do you kind of determine yourself outside of 1,000 widgets? You don't have to. Your work, your willingness to do what it is that you're supposed to be doing, is going to speak for itself. And again, once I networked and I met people and they enjoyed my work, it just spread. um, One of the things I do now is I create, so for our director at where I work currently as an HR specialist, I'm an HR specialist. They had no idea that I was did designs, did videos, but now they call me, hey, Danita, can you do this for our next swearing in, or can you do this for our fireside chat? So it's just naturally literally naturally developed into all facets of my life. And it was just easy.
Oh, that's good. So she's giving away some tea about all of her skills. I, for one, am learning to not tell people all the stuff that I could do because I, like you, have a hard time saying no. I love to volunteer. I love to support. But what you said, the point of what you said that is more important than what I said, is that your gifting can can be spread out to your day job as well as to your enterprise. You don't have to be like me. I do try to keep a little bit of separation of church and state from the things that I do with Feet Planted, also to my day job. But for you, it doesn't have to. In some cases, your expertise and what you are able to provide as a service may ride right alongside with what you do full time. And if it does, capitalize on that, take that opportunity. Just my only level of caution is to understand and have good boundaries, which is going to be my next question that I'm going to spring on you.
So before you go there, I agree with everything you said because I was hesitant at first, but it's
Yeah.
actually led me to some pretty good opportunities outside of work with people that I don't necessarily work directly with, but other
Hmm.
people who are very affluent in other areas. So it has led itself, just me opening, being able to be, me and unapologetically me, doing the videos, doing the graphics, for I guess it was for free. I get a paycheck, but it's not part of my normal jobs. But it led me to other opportunities that are what have really been very good for me too. So,
No, that's cool. That's
but
what you
I,
call that networking.
but I
Yeah,
don't give them everything.
right. Because that will require them to pay.
A lot.
So I mean, folks, if you're listening, the aperture opens broad and wide when you're able to network and get exposure to other opportunities. You never know who knows who. So we can't tell you all the tea because we would have to charge for this. So you're just getting wave top tea, but it's still good information. I wanted to ask you, and I ask everybody this too, and I'm curious, what's the best advice that you've received as you've embarked on your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that's a hard question. That's hard. Let me see. I've gotten so much advice during my short stint of graphic designing. Well, short to me because it's not been 10 years yet. Just I think that the biggest advice I got was knowing my is somebody telling me to know my worth and to value my time. I think we talked about it in the beginning. Um, so when you're setting your price points and you're setting your what your value is, because basically you're valuing yourself. And so when I was doing that in the beginning, I don't think that I was setting my price points, even though I Googled and I found some different ways to kind of set my prices. I don't think I was hitting the mark on what I was really giving to what I should have been valuing myself at. So I think that was the biggest advice. Just value yourself, know your worth, and don't let people determine your worth for you. So what I mean by that is some people will say, well, I can get it here for cheaper. So me in the beginning, I would say, well, let me see, and maybe I can do it just so I wouldn't lose the business. But as I've grown, those people who say that, I let them go and find somewhere else cheaper to do it. But cheaper doesn't always mean quality. So that was probably the hardest because I did lose some business that way, just saying, okay, go and find it cheaper. But in finding it cheaper, it wasn't necessarily better and it wasn't necessarily quality. And so now I see that cheaper, when they go out and they want to do their own thing, go let them. I'm going to value my time. I'm going to value what I bring to the table. I'm going to value my worth. So that's pretty much the best advice that I've given. And I have done very well since I have had that advice given to me.
Oh, that's good. So good. I'm going to put it on the screen. Know your worth. Absolutely know your worth. So, um, I have heard that people give advice on when you are stepping out for an entrepreneurship or you want to be an independent contractor, that you really have to understand the quality of the work that you give and be able to take stock in what you're providing as a service and the feedback that people give you back. This isn't about comparison, but the point that I'm getting to is neither one of us went to school for graphic design.
Mhm.
We're both self-taught. Can you speak to the person that says, or that may get feedback, well, why am I paying you this much? You've already answered it, but this question is more about how you represent yourself and almost a defense to, well, how can you command this price? Some people will hold you hostage because you don't have a certain degree or a certain skill that to them makes you credible. What advice can you give to that person when they come up against that? Because I've experienced that, and at the time I didn't really know what to say.
Yeah, so you're always going to have somebody who say, why you? Why pay you that? And I'll say, why pay someone else that? So you may consider me, I have to know where I am am I a beginner? Am I a intermediate? Where am I? At this point, I believe that I have learned my skill. I may not have learned it in a formal classroom, but most people don't learn what you actually need for your life skills or for your actual job in a classroom. You learn the fundamentals, you learn the basics, but you actually have to do the work in order to be successful or to be a subject matter expert in that field. The reason why I can set my price point to where I set it is because I know the question that you're going to ask. I can actually talk to you and determine what you want, how you want it, those image sizes, those dimensions that you will need, the things that you may not even know. So I think that the reason why I can set my price point at the way I can is because even though I'm self-taught, doesn't make it any less valuable than the person who was formerly taught. I think that if you come against someone like that, then that may not even be the business that you want because they're already counting you out. So you may just want to say, if you don't feel like my prices, if I'm not worth the prices that I am charging, then feel free to go somewhere else and I will take someone else's business at the same price point that I'm charging you. So I think that's the key. The key is don't allow somebody to diminish what you feel like you're worth or what you've learned. You've learned your value. You've learned your skill. Why let them diminish it? You know what you can bring to the table. So if you know what you can bring to the table, stay confident, stay firm in what you're saying. And if they need proof, you can show them, just your work, just some of the things that you've done, some of the things that you're maybe working on. Well, maybe not working on because you don't want nobody to steal your ideas, but the things that you have accomplished over the time, whether it's a short period of time or it's a long period of time. But just know your worth. That is key. If you don't know your worth, then every person that comes, every customer that comes to you is going to try to diminish your skill set.
That's real talk.
Hmm.
That is good. Even the people that don't mean to do it, um, may have that in mind. What when you were talking, I underlined, double underlined with an exclamation point, the word experience. And
Hmm.
so as you begin to hone your craft, as you begin to do your research and obtain that knowledge, you will be such an asset to your clients. And the only thing that I will add is to really take stock in the skills that you are acquiring. For those of you just joining us, you missed it when she, Miss Anderson, talked about step by step all of the things that she did. It did not happen overnight. So when you are interested, and hopefully some of you will be, for contracting her out for work, understand that you're going to get experience over time. And that's going to allow her and all of my other aspiring independent contractors and entrepreneurs to be able to deliver and deliver in ways that you are uniquely capable of delivering. So please, again, I agree with her 100%. Don't let people count you out. Don't allow people to do that. I have one more question because, again, we're celebrating mommies and you are a mommy. Your children saw you, I know. Do your business, your LLC, do the work, and do your service and community work. So this is not just work that you get paid for. They saw you show up and serve. So the question is, were they at in any point involved in your business? And if so or not, what do you think that they learned from you by watching you go through that process?
So yes, my son, no, not so much. He wasn't really interested. He was a boy. He really, mommy, go do your thing, and I'm going to do mine. My daughter, she's a mini me. So she is very she doesn't volunteer as much, but she has a very good spirit of giving. So for her, she does different things like her school. She also, for a point, I had got her a small job managing a friend of mine's social media page. He was just starting out his business. He was trying to, get or grab the younger audience. So I said, well, I got the perfect person for you. So, and she loved it. She had a good time doing it. Um, she's also into like the some of the graphics, or creating her own, some of the video touch-ups that she was doing. She had to start a YouTube page, so I think she followed more into my footsteps than my son. Um, but yeah, they definitely saw the hard work that I put in, and they both are very hard workers now. I think that's something that I wanted them to get. I gave them some of the opportunities that I didn't have as a kid, and I wanted them to see the different things on how, even though you may have more than the next, how are you going to contribute, or how are you going to make your mark in society? Because you can't do it on the backs of others. You have to do it for yourself, and in order to do that, you have to learn hard work, perseverance, just like this podcast is talking about today. You have to learn that. You have to it has to be instilled in your children at an early age, because if it's not, then you kind of lose them when they get older.
I just absolutely love it. And what the word that I love and what you have exhibited and are exuding across the keyboard is legacy, legacy building, instilling skills not only in your own creation. Because I love the analogy of giving birth to human beings, but also giving birth to ideas. And
Mhm.
so you are just paying it forward, not just in how you serve, but also in the people that came from you and how they go out into the world. That's why this event has such a special place in my heart, because women, we carry so much and we do so much, but I don't think that we are celebrated for how we pay it forward, not only with our children, but with the communities that we end up sharing our lives and our families with.
Mhm.
Ah, I love it. I love it. I get all goosebumply and just excited when I celebrate women and when they pour so much good information out. So as custom, I give all of my guests the last word. What one thing would you like to leave with our audience? And it could be anything of your choosing.
So what I have just learned, and it's funny because I've been doing this, like I said, for the last couple of years, and I have been giving of myself, but I never took ownership of anything I did in terms of patents and copyrights. So that's what I want to leave, because that is very important. Copyright your information, your intellectual property, your whatever you create, whatever you design, whatever it is yours. Whether it's you make a T-shirt, whether you make a pencil, whatever it is, make sure that you get ownership so no one else can take that from you. I think that's what I need to leave today, is what I didn't get, and I didn't know in the beginning, was everything that you create from scratch, everything that you do, whether it's simple video, whatever it is, copyright it, because people will take your information, your ideas, and they will use it as their own, and you don't benefit. They make millions, you may make zero. So that's definitely when I want to leave, and stay the course. Don't give up.
Too busy writing this down. I wish I could show my notes. I have a box in the corner that says copyright, intellectual property, with 2 exclamation points, because I need to learn that for myself. That is so good. So as promised, you guys, I am going to put Ms. Anderson's information up on the screen. But before I do, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You all are only getting a glimpse. We've been on for about an hour. You're getting a glimpse of her brilliance. This woman right here, and I'm not saying this to gas her head at all. She is absolutely phenomenal and excellent at everything that she does. I can tell you that. I've learned it and I've seen it. So I am going to bring up her information. And as I usually do, we're going to go out with the music. We absolutely are. So let me put the music up. But before I do, let's make this full screen, get us out of the way. You have just been listening to Ms. Danita Anderson, an independent contractor, specifically in graphic art, social media, and all of the things. If you are interested in talking to her, asking her questions, or more importantly, hiring her for any services that you may need, please reach out to her at danitaanderson@gmail.com. You, my dear, have shared so much knowledge. I humbly appreciate you for taking the time out of what I know is a busy schedule to come and talk to us. Please join us for our next night, our last night. We're only doing 3 nights so that you can learn more information. But again, hats off to my dear friend and sister, Danita Anderson. I hope you all took notes. I definitely did. So wave at her. You have her information. Reach out to her. She's a wealth of information on so many different fronts. Thank you so much for joining us. And please remember that you are the owner of your power to persevere. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.